want my life to be like that all the time.
Okay. Do we want to talk about some like in our homes spring style now?
Yeah,
We've talked a lot about wardrobe,
we have.
but
Home's
it's
good.
easy to get excited about that
It is. I get excited about
for me.
this.
I'm doing a lip gloss. I really like this e.l.f. lip gloss.
It's really pretty. Lip gloss break. Not brought to you by Elf and L'Oreal, but could
Yeah,
be. We are open to sponsorship opportunities.
we are. I really like this one. And then this one is really sheer. This one's called Pink Quartz. I just grabbed this one at
Ooh.
Target. The one I have in my car is more pigmented and it's so pretty. But
And
I
that looks
wanted
like the
something
exact color of your top.
really, but it does, it's,
It doesn't read that way, like on. Yeah.
no, I mean, like when you pull it out,
Oh, look at that applicator.
it's a good one.
It's a good one.
I love this stuff. I really do. I bought 2 more of these today. So I have 3 now.
I love
But I
it.
told you a couple weeks ago I was in the market. I needed some more.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I,
this is our Worth It shade from our L'Oreal Charlotte Tilbury knockoff.
I'm gonna have to
Uh,
try that one too.
yeah, but it's Plump Ambition. I'm not really a big lip plumper gal, but it's fine.
It's a tingly one, you said,
It's a
right?
tingly one.
Yeah.
It's pretty, but it's tingly. I don't think it does anything though. Like, I don't think
I
it's actually
wonder
making my lips bigger.
I wonder if they have a similar one that's not a plumping.
Maybe.
That's a lipstick tangent.
Hey, lipstick is important.
It is. And I'm really trying. It's like one of my 2025 goals is to take care of myself a little bit more.
Do it.
Get dressed, do my hair, do my makeup. Okay. Classic spring home style.
Flowers.
Flowers.
The flowers.
Flowers everywhere. Have you gotten any like grocery store tulips or hyacinths or anything yet?
No, the last grocery store flowers I did, I got roses because I was scared of the tulips.
But
Sometimes
just
they
like,
just don't.
what about the
Yeah.
bulbs? Like the ones in the dirt?
I need to do that. I need to get the ones in the dirt.
I
I just
love
haven't.
those.
I don't like the way a hyacinth smells. They're
Oh,
beautiful.
fine.
I don't like the smell.
Brian and I bought 2 more because we both have been loving the smell of them so much.
Oh, I love that. I think it's like it's just one of those things where you either like it or you don't like. Do you like a geranium?
I like a geranium.
I do like those,
Do you like a
but
paper white? Paper whites are the usual offenders.
no, they're not my favorite. But I didn't grow up with them. So I've
Ah,
only like seen them in other people. Like we had a Christmas cactus. Well, we still have them. We were more amaryllis Christmas cactus people than paper
yes.
whites. Um,
So I have amaryllis from Christmas. I bought the Costco pack, the like waxed bulb ones. They're
yeah.
blooming again.
Wow.
I'm amazed. I have 3 of them, and all 3 of them are blooming again.
Amazing. It
We
was
keep
actually on my list to do this Christmas as I wanted to do paper whites and I don't remember what happened, but it didn't
paper
happen.
whites or amaryllis.
I wanted to do paper whites because I know
Oh,
people do them. Like, and I
yeah.
don't have any experience with it. And I thought, I remember last year, like 2023 Christmas, really seeing them in all of these like classic home things that I was looking at. And I was like, I want to do that. And then this year, when it was time, I don't remember why I didn't do it. Something happened.
I didn't do
Um,
any this year either. I honestly didn't see any out, or I just like wasn't looking for them.
yeah. Do you follow Carmen Johnson
Yeah,
Gardens? I love her.
I love her too. She
She has the
has
best stuff.
the best ideas and reminders and
Hmm.
like,
And that's who was
oh,
telling me about the paper whites. Like I saw her post about it. And I wish I could remember what happened. Probably somebody got sick.
probably. She was talking about, I think she was talking about amaryllis on her page the other day, and I commented about how mine were blooming again. And
Uh-huh.
so many people have replied to that comment saying,
Really?
yes, they're saying theirs have rebloomed like 3 and 4 times. I think she was talking about what to do with them after they're done blooming.
Right.
And
And you're
so
like,
yeah,
how do you
so
know that they're done blooming?
I'm not gonna put them up. Well, normally they just, I don't know what's normal. I say normally, but I've never,
You're like, in my
I've only had
experience.
them like once or twice before, but they bloom and then I toss them.
Yeah.
But this year they looked like they regrew an entire stalk. Like somebody told me to clip it and then toss them, like put them outside in your yard.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna do that, but then I noticed that another little stem was growing. And I thought, okay, well, I like moved them into my laundry room because there's a little window, so I didn't have like
Oh,
these just like chopped off stalks around the
yeah.
house.
Like it's gonna nurture you a little bit.
And now they've grown. I'll take pictures and show. I'll
That's
post
amazing. Have
them
you ever heard about orchids living in trees?
in trees.
Okay, so one of my good friends, Alexis, she would actually be an excellent guest one day. Alexis, I'm gonna
Ooh,
rub you into this.
Alexis, come
She
on.
does like vintage shopping and estate sales, and she's got a little shop
Ooh,
where she like resells her finds. Well,
love
she
that.
worked for an interior designer in Atlanta, and she said that this woman would throw her orchids into the trees. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I could not wrap my mind around the fact that this woman would throw orchids into a tree. Well, I found this guy on TikTok and he is doing, I think he's called them like air orchids, where he takes a grocery store orchid, cleans off all of the bark and everything, and then he puts it in a clear glass container with just the roots and like a little tiny bit of water. And he's like, it makes its own ecosystem and you don't need all the dirt and everything. And
Yeah.
like how beautiful these orchids were. Well, in watching this video, he's like, orchids are meant to live in trees. And I was like, what? Alexis was right. That was
That
like 7 years ago. She told me that. And it blew my mind then. And then he's telling me how, yeah, orchids live in trees and they like their roots to have access to air.
I Googled this and there is a lot of information about this on the internet.
Mind blown. I did not know that. And now I want to go buy an orchid and throw it, well, not throw it into the tree, but see if I can make it live in just the air.
That's
And his were
amazing.
like blooming and beautiful.
Yeah, I've never had much luck with orchids.
Me neither. Ever.
I saw something that maybe a year or so ago, not very long ago, about like not putting them in dirt and
Yeah.
just keeping them in water. And
Yeah.
I did that, and it lasted probably longer than any other orchid I ever had. But
Hmm.
once the petals fell off, it was,
Well, so he says it only needs to be like a quarter inch of water. That
yeah, I
really
probably
it's
put in
like
too
it's
much.
a condensation ecosystem situation. That you
Yeah.
don't want like the crown of the plant is what he called it. You don't want that wet because that will
Oh,
like root rot. It's just a little bit of the roots. Like,
fascinating. Okay, well,
yeah, we need to experiment with some
me
orchids
too.
because I think that they're beautiful, but I cannot keep them alive for
Yeah.
anything. And I feel like part of my journey to becoming the ultimate coastal grandmother is like I want to be able to have a green thumb. I have a black thumb. I kill everything. And I'm trying really hard to like
I
nurture
know.
that.
I'm trying to. I've gotten significantly better, I will say. Like I
Yeah.
have houseplants now, whereas before I did not.
I had such like it was some sort of like sadistic science experiment because I love nothing more than when a flower is just like dead and then you water it and it stands back up.
It
And you're
is
like, it brought
so
it back to
interesting.
life. I brought it back to life. And then a few days go by, especially here because it's so hot and they're just like, "Meh,"
Yeah.
and then you water it goes back up. And so I really need to learn to just take care of them and not
Yeah.
actually let them wilt like that.
But I think it's so interesting. This is going to be Kate goes on a little bit of a woo-woo tangent
Ooh,
here.
okay.
But there's something innately satisfying and in us that watches that, and like we need that reminder that life is real. Like
Right.
these things are really alive and moving and can, I feel that way just about like when plants start to lean towards the sun even.
Right.
I'm like, oh,
It's
you're
real.
real living thing. It's so cool.
So true. And so last year, I got this from Lydia Millen. She's one of those original YouTubers I was telling you about.
Okay.
She shared about planting sweet pea seeds. So I did this last year, and you do those seeds at like January to like dead of winter. And there's something so beautiful about doing something in the dirt that is going to pay off in the spring.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so cool. So I was able to grow them last year. Their roots were not very strong. It was not, they did not turn out great. But the thought of doing something in the dead of winter that like isn't going to pay off. So I planted them this year again. They're in my living room, waiting
Are
for
they
them to like,
sprouting at all?
no, because I did it like 2 weeks ago. I should have done it a little bit earlier. But sickness.
Yeah, it happens.
Um, but I'm waiting. Like I water them every day, and like they're gonna sprout up, and it's just really cool to see that and be like, no, like I put this seed here, and now it's growing. And in a few months, when I want flowers in my house, I'm just gonna like snip it off and bring it
Yeah.
inside. And I grew that
Yep.
from like
Um,
a little tiny rock.
I got for Christmas, I have them right here, and I haven't even opened the chef. Okay, because I bought these as gifts and I ordered them too late and they didn't come till after Christmas. But I have given the other two to their original, not their original, their recipient. But they're these cute little calendars. They're
Ooh,
made out of like the seeds are filled with paper. The paper is filled
yes.
with seeds. So when the month's over, you're supposed to plant it, and I haven't done it yet. But
Learning experiment.
but
Okay,
maybe
so
this weekend I'll
you plant
plant
your
them.
calendar seeds.
You plant
What's your
them.
January seed?
I haven't planted any yet, so does it? I don't know if it even tell. I haven't even opened this out of the
Oh,
plastic.
okay.
It doesn't tell me what it is. It just says to plant it and water it and keep it in a sunny
Oh,
corner. I don't know. Anyway, I will keep you posted on that.
I can't wait to see.
I'm
That's what I
okay.
did with my lavender. I told
Oh
you about that.
yeah. Yes, I
It came
saw.
in a card. So I've planted my lavender card. And
Okay, I have January and February out, and now I'm gonna actually put my little calendars right here so I'll remember them. But yeah, I'll
I
maybe
can't
I'll
wait to see
plant
these.
these this weekend and see how to bring in a pot or something.
And follow them on our Instagram stories of
We
how the seeds are
can.
progressing.
Our little baby flower seeds. Okay, I'm trying to think like what else. I do feel like my house is very primed for spring all the time because it's my favorite
Yeah.
season aesthetic, maybe.
Do you change out
Uh,
your throw pillows?
no, because they're very springy. I changed them out for Christmas and that was good. And then I put these back on and they're my block print ones that you and
Oh,
I both have.
they're the best.
So let's talk since we're talking about pillows and block print and Emily is really excited to talk about block printing. So let's
I
talk
love
about that.
block print.
I love block printing too, but let's talk
It's
about that before we run out of
okay.
before I have to dart out to carpool in a little
Okay. So I love block print. And I randomly, probably actually from my friend Alexis, we were talking about earlier, somehow I started following Julia Amory probably 5 years ago now.
Oh wow.
And she did all of these block print. And her story is that she was getting married and she wanted table linens and she could not find the table linens that she wanted. So she went to India and made them. Yeah. And she started this whole company about block printing. And this, she was my gateway drug into the block print. Um, it used to be called India Armory, and now it's Julia Armory. It's her
Uh,
name.
I remember when she was called India Armory. I didn't
Yeah.
recognize it when you said, like, I looked it up, but I didn't connect the two.
Yeah. So she started off with table linens and like bedding, or maybe not bedding, but definitely table linens and napkins. And it's one day I will have a set of her things. They're beautiful. But I do
Yeah.
have her pareos because why not? As a mom, like treat yourself to something that,
Yeah.
only you're gonna use. I have three of them now. She had this thing called a husband shirt, which is a button down, but it's long enough that it can be worn as like a bathing suit cover up. And
Oh,
depending, I'm 5'6". It's a little short on me. I would not wear it as a shirt dress, but if you were more petite, you could definitely wear it as a shirt dress. And I love a block print, and that was my gateway drug. And I'm like, I started following her in her home. And fun fact, we can fact check this, but I'm very, very certain that her husband's aunt, okay, is Lily Pulitzer or was Lily Pulitzer.
oh,
Yes. So she, for a while, was living or they would vacation in Lily Pulitzer's Palm Beach, like
wow.
estate. And I was just fascinated by the colors and the patterns. And that was really my first experience and interaction with the more Palm Beach stuff. I mean, obviously, I knew who Lily Pulitzer was, like
Yeah.
growing up in the store and all. That's a separate, but as a home aesthetic, and like the textures and the colors. And I remember like finding her page and being like, well, I don't that she's got a lot going on. Like that's not what I thought her house would have looked like. Honestly, like that was what my brain was thinking. And then I started looking at it, I'm like, but it looks really cozy. And like I kind of want to live there. Do I like that? I
Yeah.
think that I like that. And that is what just really Sorry, now my voice is going. It just indoctrinated me. I was like, I want pattern and texture. And that was height, Chip and Jo farmhouse. It was so out of the norm for what I was seeing and used to seeing, and I loved it. I love following her, and her clothing line has evolved now. Um, but really just I don't know, that's where the love of it came from. And I was like, I want that feeling. And it was just
Yeah.
so cozy. I've never wanted my home to feel like a showroom where you can't live there. And
Yes.
it always felt like that. It felt collected. It felt comfortable. We talked about like comfortable clutter, right? Was it
Yeah.
collected clutter or comfortable clutter? What
I think it was
it was both.
comfortable. I think it
I
was
think it was comfortable
comfortable
clutter.
cluttered.
Like
Yeah.
there was stuff in her house.
Yes.
And it was just such a stark contrast to the homes that you were so used to seeing. There were nothing on the counters.
Yeah.
And um so I
Well, it goes
really
back to the idea of like if you're going to have a collection of something, it should be something that has a
right,
meaning to you.
right. I think it's not everybody's taste. I understand that. But I just started going down that rabbit hole and learning more about it, learning more about it.
Yeah.
And it's just like my favorite thing. It feels like elegant and it has a history and
Yes. Well, and I think that it's handmade history is what automatically gives it that comfortable, cozy feel because it's not perfect. It's
it's
not
not.
coming off a printer somewhere.
No, there's
Um,
variations in the like in the like density is that the right word or like the opacity of the
the
print
yeah, the
because you dip
depth
it
of
in
the
the ink.
color.
Yes.
Yeah, I was watching a Homeworthy episode the other day, which I love. And the homeowner had wallpapered her primary bedroom in a block print, like a
Oh,
hand block print wallpaper.
that's
And
so
she was
cool.
talking about how you could see where the ink would start to lessen and they'd have to go back and then redip it. You could see it in the pattern
I
there.
love that.
I think that just is one of those things that can add so much charm. It's those imperfections that add the charm and give things
Yes.
depth and warmth and
And it just
activity.
inspired me to have fun with pattern again for
Yeah.
things. And it feels collected. I don't know. It's just I
Um,
love a block print now. So anything that I can possibly wear or put in my house that is block print
yeah.
makes me so happy.
I also really like the kind of I think there's a name for it and now I can't remember what it is, but it's like a reverse block print
Ooh.
where you are not putting on the color you're taking away. So I think you are actually printing with some sort of bleaching agent
Oh, that's cool.
so that the garment is the saturated color and then the print is the lighter
Oh, I
color.
bet that's so pretty. I love
So
that.
pretty. It reminded me of something. I always loved art class in
Yeah.
school growing up, like
Same.
elementary all through high school. But I remember one process that we did in art class, and she would give us a piece of like canvas fabric, and there was some sort of wax concoction that
Hmm.
we would pour onto the canvas in whatever pattern we wanted. Like that's what we drew our picture with, basically.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what we created the image with. And then we would paint the canvas over that. And of course, the color wouldn't adhere to the wax or
Right.
I need to do more research. I'm going to have to go
When you
ask
peel
some
it
friends
off,
I'm still in touch with from school if they remember this. And I don't remember if you peeled it off. I think you did, or if you just left the wax on there. I think we peeled it off though. And then you had the image that you created
that would be so
in
cool.
reverse. It was so much fun.
I love that.
One of my favorite, I guess my gateway drug into block print Instagram account is Tessa Foley. Do you follow her? She's
No.
9 and 16 is her account.
Let me look that up.
She has a whole line of like home linens too. Her account is dreamy. It She does everything. She's very neutral. Like a lot of her stuff is very neutral in color, but there's
Ooh,
so
that's
much
beautiful.
pattern and texture. It's
Yes.
gorgeous.
This is gorgeous. I
Yeah.
love that this. Okay, so like the Julia Emery pieces, she lives in Palm Beach now. Very tropical inspired. Not coastal, like tropical.
Yeah.
This feels very coastal. Like it's still it's the layering and it's the textures and patterns, but the color scheme is a lot more tonal and
Yeah.
coastal.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think the block print, kind of going back to what we were talking about with the rugby shirt earlier, or like how you could take, the simple
Yes,
idea of a shirt. The block print is the same way.
it
Like it
is.
can fit into a lot of different
It's beautiful.
overarching aesthetics.
And you can
Uh,
lean it either. Oh, this is
yeah.
wow.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Her account is beautiful.
I could just yeah, I could just watch
There's
it all day.
another account I love. I'm gonna look at it real quick because I'm trying to remember if she uses a lot of block prints or not. But she's Molly in Maine, and I love her style. She's very coastal New England.
That sounds
Um,
familiar.
like I'm on her email list, and I actually read her emails, if that tells you anything.
Amazing. Ooh,
Oh,
that's pretty.
yes, she definitely uses some block prints. She has a lot of blue and white. That is her big
Wow.
thing. I
Yes.
love her house too.
It
Um,
looks so cozy.
so cozy. Plate walls. Like I think she's
I need a plate wall.
literally living like on the coast of Maine. She's a great follow though.
Just followed her.
These are these are our dream guests. So
Yes.
Molly and Tessa,
Yep.
if you want to come on our podcast,
Anytime. You're
we'd
always
love to have
welcome.
you. We would we would be late night texting in extreme excitement.
Absolutely would lose it. Absolutely.
Okay. Before we wrap up, something I
Yes.
really want to do every episode is for us to talk about. I want us to do something that we're loving or inspired by,
Okay.
and then like a confession because I just think that's super fun.
That is super
It doesn't
fun.
have to be a juicy confession,
It should be a
but
juicy confession.
I actually did not come up with something that I'm loving or that's inspired me. Yes, I do. I know exactly what I'm going to talk about. And this will double dip for me and my things that I love.
Okay.
So I just read the book Unreasonable Hospitality. I can't think of the author's name right now, but I'll post it. It has been on my list for several years now, and it was incredible. It's nonfiction, kind of memoir-ish style.
Love it.
So the guy that wrote it has worked in the restaurant business, like super up there. I can't remember, like Michelin stars, all the things, award winning. And he talks about how the book is totally applicable to anybody, not just people in restaurants. But he talks about service and serving and working as a team and just how hospitality can be unreasonable. And that is like what can truly make a difference. He gave lots of specific restaurant examples, like anytime he saw people come in and they would like do a coat check before a suitcase because this was the last place that they were going to go before they went to the airport, they would have a little like snack goodie bag that they sent with them after they left. It's like
I
they
love
had
that.
some, prepared, like, we're so glad you enjoyed your meal. When you get hungry in a couple hours traveling, here's a little goodie for
We'll
you.
never forget that experience. That is the service that we want people. Or that you want to
So
deliver, like if you're in the hospitality industry.
right. But even if you're not in the hospitality industry, he was like, even if you're a banker or, a plumber or whatever, like there's a way that you can
You
take
are.
this and make
Yeah.
things more meaningful for the people that you serve.
I love
Um,
that.
so it was amazing and super inspiring. Um, I loved that. Uh, so my confession for this week is that I have become obsessed this week with watching chiropractor videos, reels
Oh, that's funny.
of people getting their back and neck cracked.
I love that.
And I love it. It's great. I
So
love a
fun.
visit to the chiropractor too, for my own personal sake. But that's my confession.
I love it.
What do you have?
Let me think. Well, first off, I just wanted to say when I started my job with the oral surgeon when I was, what, 21, he sat
Yes,
me down in his office and his first words to me were, you need to understand that I am running a Ritz-Carlton. I am not running a Best Western. And we approached every patient, every case with that mentality
that's
that
amazing.
this is not a Best Western. This is a Ritz-Carlton. So I totally feel that. Like, trying to give everyone the best experience that they can have. That stuck with me all these years later. Like,
Yeah.
that's how I want to run my life. Like,
Yeah.
if it's raining and someone comes in soaking wet, you don't say, "Oh, do you need an umbrella?" You just hand them an umbrella
Right.
or walk them to their car. Or someone comes in, you don't say, "Oh, are you checking in?" You say, "What's your name?"
Right.
Or if there's
Or you
only one
say
person checking in,
welcome,
right, exactly. If there's only one person
Mr.
checking in
Smith.
right then, you know who that is. And
Right.
you like greet them. Anyway, okay, feeling inspired by
Or
um
loving or whatever.
or loving. I'm currently binging and free binging all of the Wishbone Kitchen YouTubes
Oh,
because of her issue with Bon Appetit.
I don't know
We
about that.
talked about this. Okay, so
No.
Wishbone Kitchen, her name is Meredith, and she rose to TikTok fame back in lockdown because she's a private chef and she was in the Hamptons. And I don't remember what designer it was, but she was the private chef for like a designer. She lived in their Hamptons like mansion. She would go in the garden every morning and like cut, like see what produce was fresh and then make a menu out of it.
Oh
And
my
she would
gosh.
show you all of the things that she cooked. Um, like in her like private chef style. Well, now she has a cookbook coming out in the spring, and I cannot wait to buy it. Hopefully, she'll bring her book tour close to here because I would
Oh
love more than
yeah.
to meet her. Um, but anyway, she has a YouTube series that she started last year, and it's called Dinner with Friends, where she makes a dinner party and talks you through all of the recipes, her prep, her like timeline of the prep, which is really hard for me when I'm hosting to like know when I'm supposed to be doing whatever so that you're not
Yeah.
cramming it all in at the end. Well, Bon Appetit, like the magazine, they just announced their newest YouTube series called Dinner with Friends.
Yes, I did see this.
And unfortunately, it was not, she did not trademark it. I don't think it can be trademarked. I feel like it's too in the vernacular
Like
or
a
something. I don't know.
common
She was like,
phrase.
don't come at me. Like, she's like, legally, they can do whatever they want. Excuse me.
Yes.
Like, there's no legal issue here, but it's just like not great that this big mammoth came over and like
Using the
abused that.
same phrase. Yeah.
Right. So, in solidarity, I'm just watching all of her YouTube videos
Okay,
because,
well, she has a new watcher now because I'm gonna
yeah, they're really great. And, it's really funny to watch her progression because, like, the first one, she's just in her New York City apartment, like, filming herself. And then the Christmas ones, she's got like a production team. Like, she's making her own cooking show. Also, she has gone from working at a house in the Hamptons to buying her own house in the Hamptons.
amazing.
Like, it's just, I love her. People call her like the Gen Z Martha Stewart. No, I don't think she's Gen Z. I think she's a very young millennial
But maybe she will be the Martha Stewart
to
for
that generation.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you'll love her. And a confession. This is gonna be really silly,
That's
but
okay.
I love my almond kitty cat nails. And I feel like it is so not like classic style. You think like short round or like short squoval nails.
No. Okay, I disagree.
Okay, good.
I
But
think you can get away with it.
I
Do
love the
think
kitty
of
cat claws.
Barbara Streisand
True,
in like the 60s. She
true.
definitely had those, and she is so classic.
But she's classic, but in a different way. Nancy Meyer's character is not going to have kitty cat claws.
That is true.
That's the way I'm thinking of it. Like, Elizabeth James does not have an almond nail. Meredith has an almond nail, maybe.
Yes, you're right.
I feel like
She's a,
it's not exactly what I'm like going for in my personal aesthetic and style journey, but I love them.
I
So
think there's room for that. There's a place for that.
there is. That's
There's
why
a
it's
place for that.
personal style. But anyway, yeah. I feel like it's not exactly on brand, and I try so hard to make 98% of my life on brand, but I love them.
We'll
So
give you
now that they
the
are on brand,
they are now. Yeah.
we're bringing them into the brand.
I love it.
That was
That's
fun.
fun. That's a great confession.
Yep.
I always have something to confess. I'm literally always texting a friend, okay, confession. And then they're probably usually really disappointed by whatever I say
I
because it's
love
like,
it.
I'm watching chiropractor videos. I threw out my sourdough starter, whatever.
I
I
threw mine
did.
away yesterday.
You made it longer than I did. I threw mine away last week. I couldn't take it anymore. It smelled weird, and I was just like, nope.
I pulled it out because the last time I fed it, it didn't bubble. So I thought that I just did it wrong. And then I thought, I'm gonna just give it one more go and see if I can get it to work. And I pulled it out and I looked at it and I was like, you gotta go.
Yeah, I was, yep. It's
I
like
will buy my sourdough bread.
I have not made any bread with this. It's not worth keeping this for the pancakes, and I can always do it again.
Yeah. So this has been super fun and deep dive into classic style. Let us know in the comments what your like hardcore classic style must-haves are. And we'll be back next week, possibly with a special guest. She might be the week after that. We'll see. But as always, ooh, that's the Meghan Markle thing. Are we allowed to use as always now? I think so. Okay.
For sure.
Well, buckle up, Buttercup. Here we go.
No, Buttercup.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
It's been great.
It's been great.
See you next week.